Such a good question, and one that I think is so important whether you're doing a pivot or whether you're starting from scratch in virtual is to plan, program, develop for the medium, and it is different than live. So you are going to have a different attention span than you would if you were in a room. And I will say, for the most part, most live events, face-to-face events that I go to are too long. And those sessions are too long. And by the last 30 minutes of it, most people I see are like, heads down in their phones anyway. And so, I think there needs to be a lot more thoughtfulness and consideration of our audience and what their day is like in general in our programming of our events. But back to your specific question, yes. So we originally have already, I mentioned that these were 35 speakers, and the average length of a session was between 17 and 20 minutes in the live event. So already fairly short, with breaks and a lot of what we called surprise and delight moments built in between, small little palate cleansers, just because that's how we know that you keep people engaged. But even moving to this format, we knew that we had to do something more than that. We were not going to keep people engaged at 20 minutes back to back to back. That was going to be difficult. So the first thing we did was we greatly cut the overall program by about 50%, maybe a little bit more. Because even though this was an internal event and it was somewhat compulsory, people were, they would have to view the content at some point or another. And there were watch parties set up. There was a whole big effort put in by our group along with the client to come up with a plan to get people excited and engaged in actually consuming the comment or the content through social media campaigns ahead of time, setting up watch parties, sending out kits for people to get excited, all of that kind of thing. We still knew, even with all of that, we needed to change our approach. And so we came up with different formats. We came up with things like even podcasts ideas, coming up with, a couple of 7 or 8 minute and a couple of 1 or 2 minute pieces in between. So yes, we definitely changed the format and the style. We had, some really fun little pieces that we did that were more like actual commercials that were a spoof on different topics. Unfortunately, I can't give too much away, but they were really, really fun. And in fact, some of the comments that people posted were, it was like watching the Oscars, the VMAs. One person posted that her spouse had come in and said, "Wait, I thought you had to work on some internal event today. Why are you watching TV?" And so, it was definitely a much more entertainment focused event, and that's how we planned it. We looked at it more like if we were TV producers putting together a block of programming to keep people interested, what would we do?